Welcome to NAF Next 2021. I had so hoped to be with you in person, as I'm sure you'd hoped to meet with your colleagues as well, but COVID had another idea. So here we are, remote, as you've managed to navigate for a whole year. But our theme is perfect. It's about drive. And you have been driving through the worst conditions I've ever seen in my lifetime, and you've done it with such amazing grace. I can't be more proud of you. I just think you're all just rock stars. You know, it's funny. Technology actually saved us. Thank God we had the skills, materials that we had. I know we didn't have enough and we needed more, but we were able to pivot and do really important work for communities, for students, for families, because of your willingness to be flexible. But I beg of you, do not let technology ever replace you. You are the glue. You're the glue that, as this system of education, this rubber band was stretched to the max as we looked at this year and wanting students to not lose ground. What I worry about is you demonstrated system change locally that should be kept forevermore. And if we aren't careful, we'll just let that rubber band snap back to where it was, knowing that it wasn't adequate for all of our kids. So stay with us, stay together, keep focus, because of all the work I've done in my entire career, there has never been a time in my life when it's been more valuable. We're in the business of fair play, working towards real equity and opening doors for all students. I am optimistic about our future because the new economy that our kids care about, and you see it every day, is an economy that has purpose. It's an economy that adds value. It's an economy that drives them. What used to drive people of a paycheck, what I hear young people talk about now is they want to make sure that they are doing something that will change the world for a better. So, you know, all you have to do is look at your past. You have touched generations of lives and you've changed them forever. So you are, in my opinion, the rock stars of this work. And as we look to the future, we've got to make sure that we keep all of your good work alive. It's been the honor of my life to participate with NAF, to focus on these issues of workplace, school place, and the connections between the two. But ultimately, it's seeing the ripple of that effort that has made such a huge difference. What I've been privileged to see from the driver's seat of NAF for the past 14 years has been your great work. And all the possibilities that are in front of us have never been more rich. But it will require us to keep our eyes on the prize and to make sure that we are staying in the driver's seat, not being pushed around by other agendas, but focusing on the bottom line concern that we all have, which is to make sure our young people are prepared for their future. And if we do that well, as you have demonstrated you're capable of, we have a bright future, as do they. So I'm proud to be at this moment handing over the keys to NAF, to Lisa Doogie, and joining NAF's board of directors. I know we all wish her success, and I know there are still great things to come for NAF. So thank you for all you've done and all you will do in the future to help young people succeed. Keep the faith, keep the change, and I hope to see you in Dallas next year.
Thanks so much, JD, for that great introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Doogie, NAF's new CEO, coming to you live. In keeping with the theme of NAF Next 2021, it's my honor to take the keys and continue to drive NAF forward. While I'm likely a familiar face to many of you, I've played many roles at NAF leading up to this, but it still feels appropriate to reintroduce myself to old friends while greeting new ones. My NAF origin story began with what I thought would be a short-term consulting project in 2012. My career up until that point had spanned numerous roles across various industries, and at the center of it all was using data to develop strategies that helped to improve organizational outcomes. The project at NAF was working primarily with the late, great Catherine Blasek to use the output of the data collection systems she had created to continuously improve NAF's programming and student outcomes. While we made some great progress with the data, the byproduct for me was taking in JD and Catherine and everyone else at NAF's contagious passion for this work. I knew I had found my own passion and where I wanted to build my career. Over the past 9 years, I've been fortunate enough to watch NAF grow and develop in ways we are all deeply proud of. I've had the opportunity to connect with many of you and your students, and it's your student stories and your perspectives that continue to inspire me every day. NAF staff will probably laugh when I say this because I say it quite often, but it's really hard to have a bad day when I can remind myself of all of you and the work that you do to improve the lives of our students, and I promise to lead with your voices and experiences guiding me. As we return to normal, we cannot forget about the once unthinkable circumstances and challenges of the past year and a half. So many of you had your worlds turned upside down overnight and had to go from teaching in the way you knew to suddenly having to go virtual, keep students engaged, find students who weren't logging in, accommodate hybrid and alternate schedules, all while being human beings dealing with your own personal impacts of the pandemic. I can't imagine that there's a person in this country that didn't develop a whole new appreciation of the work you do every day. Those of you to whom I've had the opportunity to speak have all said the same thing. You did it for the students, and you wouldn't have considered doing anything else. And that sentiment showed in what was accomplished this year. You successfully pivoted to serve students virtually, hosting work-based learning opportunities and internships remotely. Thank you for always finding ways to make it work. And you didn't just keep things steady, you put on the gas. As enrollment in many schools fell during the pandemic, NAF enrollment grew. In the last school year, we had over 117,000 students across the country. It's a remarkable commitment to making sure that your students still had access to the opportunity to be future ready. You also keep making sure that you're reaching the highest levels of quality. NAF is proud to celebrate our 43 new Catherine Blasek Distinguished Academies, joining the 135 that are returning and our NAF Model Academies. Congratulations and thank you for keeping the NAF educational design at the forefront. Your commitment to student success truly astounds us. I'd also like to take this opportunity to congratulate our 50 YOP and Fast Track Academies who have graduated and will be official members of the NAF family this fall. We can't wait to see all that you'll accomplish. While it's sometimes hard to find a lot of good in what has happened over the past year and a half, the NAF network has found ways to do just that. The deep disruption of this time has brought about an opportunity to reevaluate and in many ways reaffirm our core purpose. COVID has not only highlighted the inequities in our society, but it has deepened them. Our work has never been more crucial. We can settle for nothing less than accelerated and significant progress towards addressing economic mobility for people in underinvested in communities, particularly children of color. Thanks to all of you, NAF has accomplished so much, yet we know how much more needs to be done. NAF as an organization has also put our foot on the accelerator. Over the past year, we have embarked on a new strategic plan focused on doing more of what we know works and doing so for more students. This includes ensuring that inclusion, diversity, equity, and access are at the forefront of organizational decisions and strategies and our programmatic content. This is the core of what NAF has done for so long, but we can still do more and do better. We've created new roles in the organization centered specifically on this work. We are also focused on deepening our work in key geographies to double our reach to young people, elevate the student voice, and increase access to work-based learning opportunities. The work in so many of your districts has helped us to see that when we can bring all the right people to the table and really build a coalition in a location, there are more scalable programs, more access to opportunities for students to work with companies and mentors, a developed workforce pipeline of skilled and diverse talent for local businesses, and the community benefits immensely, and we want to do more. Well, it's something we've worked on for quite a while. COVID has really caused us to increase our efforts and speed towards creating a more technology-enabled organization. We're pushing our thinking about how we are able to create and deliver content and support the whole network in ways that work with your own technology needs and constraints. And perhaps most importantly, we know that none of us can do this alone. We are keenly focused on scaling employer partnerships and pipelines, all while preparing students with the competencies and skills that will prepare them to be our future leaders. We want to get creative about how we're able to grow in the ways we seek to provide more measurable and quantifiable outcomes from more experiences for students. An exciting output of this thinking is how we're best able to provide support to all of you. Over the next few weeks and months, you'll be hearing more from us on our strategy to better serve the personalized needs of you, our network members, and our academies. You are at the heart of where this work lives. You can expect more customized service that aligns with your needs and easier to access on-demand resources. Our goal is to support you as we work together to maximize impact, leverage technology for real-time support, and develop a scalable design to efficiently and effectively reach more students. Throughout this time of disconnection, we've strived to keep your thoughts and your voices at the center of what we do. We put together a leadership series of speakers last year to bring together the voices of the network, and that led to the leadership track at this conference. Our marketing and communication efforts have continued to increase, and we are continuously working to amplify your voices through social media, the NAF website, email communications, and our blog, as well as some new ideas like a podcast and further development of the leadership series and more. And you will certainly be hearing from me, and I want to hear from you too. While I can't wait to get to do this in person, I hope you enjoy the incredible agenda that the team has put together for you. Throughout the sessions of this conference, you'll hear about much more of the great work I just barely touched on. As we drive forward towards a great couple of days together, I want to kick it all off with some thank yous. Thank you to the NAF staff who has done so much to keep things moving despite incredibly challenging circumstances. I'm so grateful for all of you. And thank you to our partners who never hesitated to get creative with us about how we could pivot and support our students. And most importantly, I want to again thank and celebrate our educators. You are the engine that has kept everything moving forward in uncertain times, and your undying commitment to supporting the best possible outcomes of students has kept us all in the fast lane. Thank you. And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce Brenda Belcher, a dear friend of NAF's, who will be announcing this year's Janet Linton Leadership Awards and leading this morning's panel discussion. She's a former Janet Linton Leadership Award winner herself and has been an advocate for education in the Detroit Public Schools community districts for decades, acting as a consultant, teacher, assistant superintendent, and principal. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you, Lisa. And good morning, NAF Nation. So excited to be with you today. During this continued time of uncertainty, and needing to pivot to ensure we can drive NAF's mission forward, our educators have truly been our superstars. We thank you for your dedication, perseverance, passion for making this world a better place, and your tenacity in not backing down from any difficulty. The Janet Linton Leadership Award was created in 2006 to honor outstanding Academy directors and educational leaders. Today, we are honored to recognize our 3 Janet Linton Leadership Award winners for 2021 and shine a spotlight on their achievements. Our first winner is Dr. Elizabeth Aguila, the Academy of Education lead teacher at Hialeah Gardens High School, the first NAF Distinguished Academy of Education in the country. She has helped to build the program from the ground up and has encouraged students to explore and learn about the teaching profession. Congratulations, Elizabeth. Next, we are proud to celebrate Jayme FITZPATRICK. Jayme is Manager, Career and Technical Education at Deer Valley Unified School District in Phoenix, Arizona. She has spearheaded a growth of new programs, including adding the Academy of Entrepreneurship, expanding coding, 3D animation programs, creating a fine culinary arts experience for Academy of Hospitality and Tourism, and much more. She is also instrumental in advocating for internships, creating and working with the advisory board, and planning and promoting hiring events and career days. Congratulations, Jayme. Our third recipient is Eric RADOMSKI. Eric is the Manager, Career Technical Education, Milwaukee Public Schools, MPS. His work has helped to increase the number of NAF students in MPS with a 60% growth rate from 2016 to 2021. Eric was also an early adopter of NAF for MPS CTE and is passionate about ensuring equity and advancing hands-on and project-based learning and amplifying internships. Congratulations, Eric. Let's give our 2021 Janet Linton Leadership Award winners another round of applause to thank them for everything they do. All right, I am excited now. This is the part I've been waiting for. I'm excited to engage our winners for a special panel. You will have the chance to hear from them directly about how they have navigated these challenging times, as well as their vision for post-COVID schools. Welcome, panel. So let's get right to it with the first question. And I'm going to ask Elizabeth to respond to this first, then we'll go to Jayme and Eric. But this year was unlike any other, and our educators truly moved gracefully through uncharted territory. Talk about what allowed you to adapt and pivot quickly, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I just want to talk about, we sprung into action. When this happened, we already kind of had an abrupt end of our previous school year. So our learning support team at our school, we had to make decisions and adapt quickly to prepare the teachers for the next school year. We contacted virtual teachers that we knew that taught in college, that taught in high school, and we started to realize all the things that we didn't know. So we gave our teachers a survey, and we used this survey to create the CARE protocol. We prepared the beginning of the year professional development with workshops on how to communicate, accommodate, relate, and empower. And this protocol really helped us create goals and create an action plan for the rest of the school year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Jayme, I'm going to give you an opportunity to weigh in on this question. How did you pivot so quickly, and how did you adopt?
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, NAF, for having me this morning. The ability to move gracefully through these uncharted waters of 2020-21 was the strong leadership and collaboration in my school district for me. As a district administrator, I was able to be a part of the return to school and the return to work teams focused on learning and safety. Our superintendent, Dr. Curtis Finch, was a strong influencer in Phoenix and Arizona education consortiums in making positive changes. This allowed us to move quickly, establish processes, and return our students to in-person learning by late September of 2020, while providing strong support for our remote learners and students and staff that may have been in quarantine. This ability to be in person for the better part of the school year was huge in making us a trailblazer in Arizona and in the nation for returning kids to school.
Yeah, that was really impressive, getting the students back face-to-face beginning in September through the end of the school year. Congratulations to you and your district. Eric, want to get your voice in here. Talk about this uncharted territory and how you pivoted so quickly.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, NAF. I don't know that I actually did adapt and pivot too quickly. There was definitely a prolonged time of uncertainty, particularly for the first couple of months we were shut down, and we were shut down for the entire year up until the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks of school this year. So when we did make that adjustment and realized things would be different for a while, I think having been around a long time helped out a lot. So there's definitely something to be said for longevity and just knowing, who to contact and where to get help. I think the fact that our CTE office is in regular communication with our teachers really helped. And like Liz, we really didn't know, especially at first, what our teachers needed. So, we reached out and just asked, what do you need? What can we do for you? What can we buy for you that will support you? And we just listened and acted. So we bought different types of software and some virtual tools, cameras, tripods, and other resources that would help us to make the pivot. But it did take some time, and it was really completed last summer, more for the start of this past school year. I do remember in March that we did some professional development on Google Classroom, which was the tool that our teachers really leaned on this past school year. A lot of our teachers were comfortable with it, but many were not. So that was a good PD. And the fact that we already had a strong work readiness program in place prior to the pandemic really enabled us to make the transition to virtual a lot easier. We maintained the program that we had as best we could. We provided work readiness sessions, industry panel discussions twice a month, and mock interview sessions once a month, and worked together with our CTE office to figure out, what that would look like. So I do want to give a big shout out to Tamara and Emily from our office, who really made that happen, and they did a great job with it. And of course, having great partners who are ready to help with providing those sessions allowed us to make that transition a lot more seamless.
Wow, it sounds like you really did maximize and pull on all of your resources, and you reacted to change productively, and that is commendable. Let's talk about positive lessons that you've learned during this time, specific to teaching remotely. What were some of the biggest challenges of teaching remotely, and what were you most surprised about? And let's start with Jayme.
Brenda, there were many challenges. As an administrator, I came to quickly empathize with our teachers and our students, especially our students. This was very difficult for them. And our teachers quickly came to put student needs first and address those needs on a case-by-case basis, and most of all, were flexible. They were teaching in person and remotely simultaneously, which was a huge challenge. The challenges came in keeping to the high standards in career and technical education, as well as our district, and keeping as much continuity as possible in learning, providing technology, materials, and work-based learning opportunities. Providing added supports was so important. I was most surprised by how proficient and skilled our teachers had become by the middle of the year. It had just become natural. It was just what they do. And the students were happily compliant with the restrictions, with being able to come back in person and network with their peers, even though they might have been wearing masks or working in smaller groups. But they appreciated that opportunity, yet they were also given high quality opportunities if they chose to be remote learners as well. And it was a challenge, but we did it.
Awesome. Eric, how would you respond to that? Let's talk about some of the biggest challenges and what most surprised you.
Well, besides being told you're on mute or telling somebody else they're on mute, I would say student engagement was definitely the biggest challenge. So I don't teach anymore, but I was able to assist with some classroom projects from time to time throughout the year. And from my perspective, I would say a huge challenge was getting students to turn their cameras on, turn their mics on, and participate in that virtual environment. And it was really difficult not to be able to see the students or receive feedback instantly like you would in the classroom. And in terms of most surprised, I would say attendance at meetings really improved. That was a big surprise, whether it was with our teachers or our partners. And I think what surprised me was that, at least at first, was that people actually really seemed to like the flexibility and time-saving nature of remote meetings.
Yeah. I've also heard that student engagement was really challenging during this remote learning. Thank you for calling that out. I'm sure there are folks agreeing with you right now. Elizabeth, biggest challenges and surprises to this remote learning.
So I was really encouraged by teachers stepping out of their comfort zone and being so willing to change their teacher identity to meet the needs of the students. Teacher identity is something that's not easily changed, especially for teachers who have been teaching for a while. Growing from a teacher who seldomly uses technology to a teacher that must was very difficult for some. But I was surprised and so happy to see the level of adjustment, not only for teachers, but for students as well. By the end of the year, we were all growing and learning and teaching together, and that was so encouraging. The biggest challenge for me personally was actually an emotional one. Not feeling connected to our students, watching students struggle and not being able to walk behind them, put your hand on their shoulder and say, what do you need? How can I help? Was really difficult for me. Not feeling that they were in my reach.
Yeah. What tools did you all use to implement to continue moving forward as you continue to think about returning in person? And what will you be happy to leave behind? So what tools did you implement? And then what will you be happy to leave behind? We'll start with Eric.
All right, thanks, Brenda. I know we'll continue to use the virtual meeting platforms, and hopefully we'll hone in on one, whether it's Zoom or Teams or something else, but I'm also going to be glad to see them used more sparingly in the future, for sure. I think we'll continue to use Google Classroom. Was somewhat used pre-pandemic, but now it's a staple that all of our teachers are using. And I think we'll continue to use it from our Career and Tech Ed office centrally as a resource for students and teachers to access videos and links and other important information whenever they'd like. And then in terms of specific technology tools, Replit is one that enables our students to code in all different languages through their browser, and it works with Chromebooks, which we've provided to all of our students. And then another would be Onshape, which is a software that enabled our robotics and our engineering students to work on their design projects from home on whatever device they had. And it had the functionality to have students to be able to work in teams or independently, and then share and get instant feedback from their teachers or their colleagues. And in terms of leaving behind, I think just probably what everybody thinks, just the lack of face-to-face interaction. I'll be really happy to leave behind the virtual meetings with those meetings we have with people right in the next office or across the hall, and we'll be able to get back together face-to-face.
Yeah. I'm sure that most people would love to start engaging and get from in front of these cameras. Jayme, how would you respond to this? Want to get your voice in here as well. And talk about the tools and what would you be happy to leave behind?
Alrighty. One of the tools that I think we'll use going forward is our implementation of virtual advisory board meetings. We'll do a hybrid this year of both virtual and in person. We were able to engage large numbers of business partners across all of our programs. Folks like Marriott, Hilton, Apple, Albertsons, local media outlets, and post-secondary institutions like ASU and Grand Canyon University. So we were grateful for those virtual advisory board meetings. It really made it easy for our community to engage with us. We implemented a program lead teacher positions, 6 teachers that took leadership in their industry and content areas, and those teachers will continue in those roles going forward. And we were able to develop a plethora of professional skills and career-focused learning management system modules that our teachers will be able to modify and use as we go forward. And lastly, our sound safety and sanitation procedures that we'll use in our environments as we return our full population of students to campuses. Oh, and I think one more I forgot to mention was virtual internships. We were very grateful to continue keeping our internship program running through those virtual internships, and we'll keep that in combination with our in-person internships for the new school year. Some things we're happy to leave behind, however, are virtual professional development, and many, but not all, virtual meetings and things like virtual student competitions or field trips. Those are things that we're excited to see happen in person, get that collaboration and that face-to-face time as we move into the post-COVID world.
Awesome. Thank you for calling out the virtual internships. I've also been hearing that districts have really been able to engage students in these opportunities across the board, and employers have been more than willing to engage in these virtual internships. Elizabeth, let's get your voice in here on this question on tools that you've implemented and what you will use moving forward and what you want to leave behind.
So this was the year of the tools. We had tools. We didn't even know what to do with so many tools. But the great thing is that we also were able to experiment with different things this year and kind of determine, what do we want to keep and what is too much work, or maybe it doesn't really fit into our curriculum. One of the things that I see myself using in the future is being able to record a lesson and making it available for students to watch again. I don't know how I'm going to do that when we go back, but it was such a great thing to have for our students and our lowest quartile students, because they're able to rewatch directions to a project or maybe some content that they may have missed for different reasons. So that's something I definitely think I'll use again. Technology like Nearpod, Teams, Flipgrid, these were lifesavers, just to be organized, to communicate with students, and to just get our content out there. These are things that I'm definitely going to continue to use. Echoing Jayme and Eric, I feel like, leaving these screens behind, maybe not totally, because there are some things that we do that they already mentioned, we do take advantage of, but I definitely can't wait to be more face-to-face.
Awesome. Elizabeth, continuing with you, how do you envision education changing in post-COVID and in the post-COVID environment, and what support will students need?
I think that teachers surprise themselves, and I'm hoping that they will be more willing to try new strategies and teaching styles. I also think that teachers leaned on each other more, not only for emotional strength, but for professional survival. I think this experience will push new research about virtual learning, teacher identity, and professional development. I also want to mention that there's something to be said about what is working in education. The fact that teachers love their students has never been clearer. The care parents showed to ensure that their children are getting the best education, and the new opportunities that have been available for from states, districts, and school administration, these have all been wins this year.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk earlier, and you talked about emotional support. Could you talk about the importance of that emotional support for our students?
Yes, I think it is so important to still emotionally connect with these kids, let them know, maybe meet with them in breakout rooms and say, what's going on? I see that you haven't turned in some activities or some projects. So making sure to connect with students virtually was a challenge. We had to definitely figure out our school resources, our district-wide resources to make this happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jayme. And then we'll go to Eric. We are getting to the end of our panel discussion, but let's want you to weigh in on this question. Jayme.
Yeah. So this is a complex question. As the post-COVID environment's changing very rapidly, students will forever be expected to learn and work in a hybrid environment and expected to possess the skills needed for both. To some extent, teachers and administrators will need to do this as well. It will become harder to recruit and retain good educators. Education will need to change quickly to keep up with workforce's changing demands. Things in the post-COVID environment will start to move faster. Students will need support in developing skills that are sought after, skills that are transferable, and skills that are focused on problem solving. And that's what we're here to do, to help the students accomplish those things.
Thank you. Thank you. And Eric?
Yes, well, like Jayme, sure. Like Jayme, I think we'll definitely end up seeing some sort of blended classroom with both face-to-face and virtual components. I think everyone's become much more comfortable with technology, and we'll end up finding some kind of common ground that'll be more efficient and effective. And to that end, I would envision a much more flexible environment for K-12, where there could be more choice about where the work gets done. And I think school building setups might look a little different in the future, maybe more open spaces with comfortable furniture like many of our colleges have for students to be able to work from. So, sort of like a remote work location while still being physical in the building. And I think the fact so many students were forced to wrestle with remote learning made a lot of them adept at it, and that could open up the door for more opportunities to take classes offered at other schools including in post-secondary, which would then enable more dual enrollment opportunities. And so if we can do that, then geography doesn't necessarily have to play as big a role, and transportation wouldn't have to be the barrier that it often is.
So true, so true. And just reimagining that the physical space is something that districts are going to be grappling with as well. Thanks for calling that out. Okay, this is our last question, and we'll start with Jayme. What is driving you forward as you look to the next school year?
Brenda, I'm so excited to collaborate with other educational leaders in person, debrief our learnings of the past year and year and a half, and share best practices and innovation strategies, just like we're doing here today and this week at NAF Next. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Eric, what's driving you forward?
Yes, thank you. I think continued opportunities to improve. We've certainly learned a lot in the past year and a half, and it's exciting to think that so many people are looking at education in a new light and trying to figure out what are the best lessons that we can continue to use, and what can we eliminate that no longer serves us, and the possibility of experiencing new innovations that we haven't thought of yet. Recently read an ACTE article about high quality CTE during COVID, and I think people, based on that article, are really trying to reimagine what education can look like, and that's definitely exciting. And then I would say work-based learning. Obviously, the pandemic affected so many areas in our lives beyond just education, and it certainly affected the labor market. And the immediate result in this past month or two has been a boom in the number of employers who are looking for workers now, and that's definitely evident in the job board that we have up for students. And that could change soon enough, but for now, I think it can be a tremendous opportunity for many of our students looking for that first work experience. So I'm hopeful our work-based learning numbers will rebound dramatically over the next year, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, you have the last word here. What's driving you forward as you look to next school year?
Thank you, Brenda. So I'm excited about the changes that are coming, and I know that the changes we've already experienced have probably been the biggest that are going to happen in our professional career. But I'm excited about where education is going to go after this. Just to echo what Eric was saying, I see the new things, that can come from this that are positive. People are paying attention to teachers. People are paying attention to the content. And I think that's very promising. I'm also motivated by the excitement of the teachers and students to be unified again. I realized for myself, I took so for granted my loud classroom and the busy hallways, and this year was complete opposite of that, and it was just quiet, and I'm looking forward to being with all my kids and telling my class to lower their voices, and telling the kids in the hallway to keep it moving. So I'm excited about that, and I'm just looking forward to a normal school year.
Yeah. And I'm excited for all of you as you prepare to return to face-to-face learning in the fall. I would like to express my gratitude to you. So great to have just a terrific panel sharing from your experiences, your challenges, advice, and thank you for even just the excitement that you have for what's next. We appreciate your leadership during this time. You certainly did it with grace and with our students at the top of your mind. And so again, to our NAF Nation, please join me in giving them another round of applause. All right, so up next, we will have a presentation of the 2021 WILE Award. Please give your attention to Sonia Samaru. She's the Educational Specialist for CTE, Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Brenda. For the past 9 years, it has been an honor to recognize a select number of NAF academies exhibiting the highest standards for public-private partnership with the Sandy I. Weil Academy of Excellence Award. These academies have achieved a graduation rate close to 100%, have set an impressive expectation for internship placements, have a dedicated advisory board and alumni communities, and are the true definition of future leaders. This year, we had two incredible candidates, Northridge High School, STEM Academy from Greenlee, Colorado, and Hialeah Gardens High School, Academy of Health Science from Hialeah Gardens, Florida. Like every year, the decision is never easy. We are pleased to share that for 2021, NAF will be awarding this recognition to both academies. Congratulations to Northridge High School STEM Academy and Hialeah Gardens High School Academy of Health Sciences. How about a round of applause? I'd like to now share a little bit more about their accomplishments. Northridge High School STEM Academy has been part of the NAF Academy for nearly a decade, and in 2018 combined into one STEM Academy, housing engineering, IT, mathematics, and the sciences. This expansion allowed the high school to accommodate hundreds more students and promote equity in connecting to additional career pathways. Let's hear a few words they've prepared.
I'm Tom Norton, the past mayor of Greeley and the chairman of the advisory board. Public-private partnerships is what makes this program work. And thanks to all the businesses that support that.
I'm Brenda Rangel. I'm the STEM Academy coordinator here at Northridge. And I want to give a special thanks to our staff members who are specifically on the Academy team, David Isley, Diane Patterson, Christy Julian, and Hannah Hurlbert, who dedicate many hours and much energy to helping students engage in real-world projects and developing 21st century skills. Also, a special thanks to Cassie Jung, the manager of our Academy development, who has helped us work on the structure of our Academy to be far more inclusive for more students.
I'm Dr. Insoon Olson, principal of Northridge High School. Thank you so much for this amazing award to the committee of the Sanford Weil Academy of Excellence Award and to the National Academy Foundation. We are here today because of the support of our superintendent, Dr. Pilch, and her staff and our school board. Thank you so much. We are very proud and we will honor this award to our best capacity.
Fantastic. Next, the highly invested Academy staff and advisory board at Hialeah Gardens High School, Academy of Health Sciences, is passionate about securing future-ready opportunities for students and haven't allowed COVID-19 to slow them down. They call themselves problem solvers and will always find a way for the benefit of their students. Ready for more? Please give them your attention.
Hello, my name is Tammy Law, and I'll be accepting this award on behalf of the Academy of Health Science at Hialeah Gardens High School. We are so honored to be nominated for this award. There's been so many people that helped us with this, so I just want to take a second to say thank you. Thank you to NAF and all the people who supported us there, especially Jean Friedman, to our extraordinary CTE department, Dr. Lupi Diaz, Angela Miller, and Magali Peretz for all the work that you guys do. Our school and support structure there, Maritza Jimenez and our principal, and Michelle Dagani, our NAF coordinator, as well as the teachers who work in the health science department. Thank you guys so much. But this all would not be possible without the 115 amazing business partners that make this happen every year for us, and the partnership that you're giving and the amazing experience that you're giving to our students. So thank you on behalf of Hialeah Gardens High School and the Academy of Health Science. Thank you and have a great conference.
We commend both academies for all of your hard work and for sharing your examples of giving back in your communities that are truly an inspiration to us all. Once again, congratulations. At this time, I'd like to reintroduce NAF CEO Lisa Doogie, who will close out for the main stage and get us ready for the rest of our day. Welcome back, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Sonia. And thank you, Brenda, and our amazing award winners. I love the idea of us all being problem solvers and hearing how you all rose to this most difficult occasion while keeping the students at the center of everything is so motivating. We are truly inspired by all of you. So I hope you're feeling energized and ready to attend some great learning sessions today. Up ahead tomorrow, we will be building on our efforts to accelerate access and equity for our students. Please be sure to join tomorrow's main stage at 11:15 Eastern Time and join the conversation online, both in the chat and on social media. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I'll see you in the next session.